cemetery left a constant icy tickle on Yadriel's neck. In the dark, he could barely spot the transparent quality of Felipe's body. Felipe's fingers moved in a ghostly blur as they plucked at the strings of his vihuela. It was his tether, the material possession most important to him, that kept him anchored to the land of the living. Felipe wasn't ready to be released to the afterlife quite yet. He spent most of his time in the graveyard playing his music and drawing the attention of the brujas, both of the living and the dead variety. His girlfriend, Claribel, always chased them off, and the two spent hours together in the cemetery, as if death had never parted them to begin with. Yadriel rolled his eyes. It was all very dramatic, if you asked him. It'd be nice if Felipe could pass on already. Then Yadriel could get a good night's rest without being woken up by Felipe and Claribel's bickering, or worse, his terrible renditions of Wonderwall. But the Brujex didn't like forcing a spirit to cross over. As long as the spirits were peaceful and hadn't turned maligno, the Brujos left them alone. But no spirit could stay forever. Eventually, they would become violent, twisted versions of themselves. Being trapped between the land of the living and the land of the dead wore on a spirit, chipping away at their humanity. The parts that made them human eventually faded away until the Brujos had no choice but to sever the connection to their tether and release them to the afterlife. Yadriel motioned for Maritza to follow him down a side path so Felipe wouldn't see them. When the coast was clear, he tugged on the sleeve of Maritza's shirt and gave her a nod. He sprinted forward, weaving between statues of angels and saints, careful to not snag his backpack on their outstretched fingers. There were above-ground sarcophagi and some mausoleums large enough to fit an entire family. He'd walked these paths hundreds of times and could navigate the maze of graves in his sleep. He had to stop again when they came upon the spirits of two young girls playing tag. They chased each other, dark curls and matching dresses billowing out around them. They giggled madly as they ran straight through the small birdhouse-like tombs that held cremated remains. The tombs were hand-painted in bright colors and stood in crowded rows of golden yellow, sunburst orange, sky blue, and seafoam green. Glass doors revealed clay urns inside. Yadriel bounced on the balls of his feet as he and Maritza hid. Seeing the spirits of two dead girls running around a cemetery would probably freak most people out. But little Nina and Rosa were nefarious for other reasons. They were both huge tattletales who couldn't be trusted to not rat him out to his dad. If they got dirt on you, they held it over your head and subjected you to torture the likes of which you'd never seen. Like hours of playing hide-and-go-seek where they always used their non-corporeal bodies to cheat, or purposely leave you waiting to be found behind the smelly dumpster on a hot LA afternoon. It was definitely not worth being indebted to those two. When the girls finally ran off, Yadriel wasted no time sprinting to their final destination. They rounded a corner and came face to face with the lich gate to the church. Yadriel's head tipped back. Whitewashed bricks were stacked before him, forming an archway. The words, El Jardín Eterno, were hand-scrawled delicately in black paint. The Eternal Garden. The paint was faded, but Yadriel knew his cousin Miguel had already been tasked with giving it a fresh coat before the Dia de Muertos festivities began in a few days. A heavy, bolted lock kept out any trespassers. As leader of the Brujex families, Yadriel's father, Enrique, held the keys and only gave them to the brujos who were on shift to guard the cemetery at night. Yadriel did not have a key, which meant he was only allowed to enter during the day or for ritual.